What's going on, everyone? So, one of the teams I would love to see Giannis go to, right? Just depends on if he's willing to go there, would be the Detroit Pistons, right? Like him and Cade Cunningham, I think would be special, right? You'd have the young triple-double, do everything type guy. He's really emerging into his zone. He's really becoming like a star, right? And you'd have that alongside Giannis, right? That alone, I think, is enough, especially in the Eastern Conference, to potentially push you where you need to go, right? But also, there's a couple factors that go into a potential Giannis trade, right? Milwaukee cannot tank. They cannot fold for the bottom. They can't. They have to get whatever trade that they work out has to be enough of a young core and foundation to be your kind of building blocks of the future, right? So what teams come to mind that make sense of like, hey, they could trade 3, 4, 5 guys that could be building blocks for a team like Milwaukee while also maintaining the roster and ability to now contend for an NBA championship with Giannis. And I think the Detroit Pistons fall in that category, right? So, you kind of just go through the roster. You're not trading Cade Cunningham, that's for sure. Okay, well, what young guys can you build around? Would they trade Asher Thompson, right? Now, the Houston Rockets want to keep him in. They don't want to trade him in, but Asher hasn't been as good as him in. He's shown some of the signs, but he hasn't yet, right? So can you lose and justify Asher? I think so, right? Okay, well, maybe like a Jaden Duren, you could add to that, right? Like, yeah, it would suck to lose Duren, but you're getting Giannis, right? Like, I think you can survive that. I think you'll be okay with that. Jaden Ivey, right? So you could put a package of like, say, Jaden Ivey, Asher Thompson, and Jalen Duren, right? Those could be your three, whatever salary fill or whatever. But those three guys as now here's your building blocks and foundation, plus, whatever picks or whatever, right? And then if you're Detroit, you're still good enough now to win because now you have your guys would be Cade Cunningham. You saw Malik Beasley if he can continue the production that he had this year. You'd have Isaiah Stewart still. You'd have Tobias Harris. You'd have Dennis Schroeder, who was really good for you this year, right? And has continued. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been good for you. But you can also kind of retool and revamp and rebuild whatever you want, right? You can kind of put whatever pieces in. I mean, the point is having Cade Cunningham with Giannis. That alone gives you enough to now compete. Add in a Malik Beasley who has familiarity with Giannis, right? Now you're in good shape, right? You got the shooting, right? You got some of those things. I look at a team like Detroit and it's like, okay, you could give up the young you can give Milwaukee a foundation. Like, here's your building blocks for now in the future. You get a young guard, Jaden Ivey, get a Jalen Duren, so you get a young center, and then you get a young forward that if he turns out anything like his brother, boom, you're in good shape, right? You got a foundation piece. And now you have, like I said, now you have Cade Cunningham with Giannis, plus a bunch of like role guys, but you can also go get whatever other pieces you need to fill in, right? Like, Isaiah Stewart, I think would be fine as your center alongside Giannis is probably playing center. You saw Milwaukee play Giannis center a ton, right? So, and it's just, again, what teams can kind of justify such a big swing while also maintaining the flexibility necessary, right? And I look at a team like Detroit and they're one of the few teams that can, right? Like, so I think it's a win-win for all sides. It boils down to Giannis, really, at the end of the day, because would Giannis be willing to pull off a Detroit trade? Like, for whatever, look, I think Detroit has a good, I think they're coming, right? But players don't really want to play in Detroit, right? I mean, you hear it all the time, like, I ain't going to Detroit. Even guys like Austin Reeves was like, I ain't going to Detroit. You've seen players, forgo even being drafted to avoid going to Detroit. So for whatever reason, like, teams just don't want to go to Detroit. However, you now have Cade Cunningham and his emergence, right? Things start getting a little different when it's like, wait a minute, like me and Cade, imagine what that would look like. Cade is still young, right? Guy that can set me up, right? And if you're Giannis, you're looking at it as like, I don't have to do everything, right? I'm 30. Cade Cunningham could be my triple-double guy, be the point guard, set me up, throw me lobs, make my job easier. I still go get 50 and Cade can just, help me. And then I got that guy that can help me close down the stretch and all that stuff. Put a couple shooters around and a couple 3-and-D guys around me and him, right? Like, we're in business, right? Like, if I'm Giannis, I don't think that's a bad scenario. I don't think that, like, if you're telling me worst case Giannis ends up in Detroit, like, I'd be like, Detroit, you might want to watch out for Detroit this year, right? Like, the moment he went to, I'd be like, you can make an argument Cade Cunningham would be the best player Giannis has ever played with, right? Like, by far. No, Drew Holiday is excellent, but, he's a role guy, right? Chris Middleton, again, excellent, but a role guy. Damian Lillard is not prime Dame. He wasn't prime Dame when he came to the Bucks, right? He hasn't been, the Dame that we, kind of grew up with. Right, so, Cade Cunningham would probably, in my opinion, would clearly not even, I don't even think that's like an opinion thing. I think that's just facts. Like, Cade Cunningham would be the best player that Giannis has played with, right? Like, so I think you give him, but it's also his age. He's a young workhorse, right? Like, he's not 35. Where it's like, Cade would be great, but, how many years can he stay on his, like, no, he's just coming into his own, right? He's just emerging and evolving. He's 23 years old. He'll be 24 in September, right? So you have him for the next 10 years, right? Like, so if you're Giannis, you're looking at this and going like, man, I'd have Cade Cunningham basically till I retire, plus whatever other young guys and assets, and they have picks and they have everything that you need to position yourself. It's like, I think that they, depending on what kind of strides Cade makes next season, you could be talking contending championship level team as soon as next year, right? They're all giving the Knicks a run for their money right now. I think the Knicks still win that series, but, it wouldn't surprise me. Detroit's tough. They don't back down. They're right in the thick of it, right? I think at worst you're the third best team behind Boston and Cleveland, but I think you'd be good enough to beat either, right? So I think bare minimum you're the 3 seed in the East, and I think you're only going to have to, more likely than not, maybe you play 2 of them because 2-3 matchup, but point is like you'd be good enough to beat either of those teams and give you a shot. I don't hate it. I think Detroit is the way to go. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.